What's going on today, guys? It is Dev with Crossing the Line. And look, guys, it's just another week where we don't have a ton of sports news. It's just that part of the summer. So we'll just kind of talk a little bit of golf, a little bit of NBA, NFL, just BS around because there's not much to talk about. So let's just kind of get straight into it. And then afterwards, we'll end it off with some TV shows, some movies, all that, all the good stuff you guys come for. Start off with the PGA Tour. Not a lot of golf fans. I'm a golf fan. Right now, Justin Thomas is 7 under right now, and he is currently leading the Tour Championship. Colin Morikawa right behind him. Love Colin. He's in that golf show with, wow, Lightning McQueen. I'm a huge fan of Morikawa. I do enjoy him. Rory's top 6, so is Scotty. They're both 4 under. I imagine that they'll be top 2. Maybe even one of those guys will win because they always end up at the top. You know what? I was thinking about this the other day because I started recently getting back into golf heavily. I don't know how many of you guys have actually played golf. It's a tough sport. It's hard to learn. You can't just rely on like basic athleticism. It's a lot of mind game. It's a lot of perfect technique and form. And so I started playing in person. And it made me respect what Tiger did even more. I'm not going to talk about all the off the field issues that he had, but his run in the 90s to 2000s is mind-blowing to me because this sport is all mind, all perfect technique form. You have to rely on like wind conditions, weather conditions, all of that. And this guy was winning tournament after, like, nobody could touch him. He might be the greatest athlete in his respective sport of all time compared to how difficult the sport actually is. And I would love to debate that with somebody because you can make the argument for, LeBron or Michael Jordan or I don't know, they're all the GOATs you can think of, Tom Brady. But what he did in his respective sport is just incredible. It's Michael Phelps level. It's just, I don't know. It'd be really cool if his son is incredible growing up. And we get to watch Tiger do what he did and his son kind of round it off with his career being good. But let's get back onto the Tour Championship. Morikawa's looking good, Justin Thomas looking good. Obviously, I talked about that already. You got Scotty, Rory. I'm sure they'll be at the top. Cameron Young, top 17. Ben Griffin, Sam Burns, all these guys. I love Tour Championship. We'll talk about the winner after this championship is over, but that's just kind of where we're at right now. Let's hop into some NFL news. Not a lot of NFL news because it's preseason, but it seems as if Joe Flacco is going to start the Browns preseason finale. And look, anybody who watches the NFL season, you can kind of infer what's going to go on based on how the roster is built during preseason. Joe Flacco starting the final preseason game really makes me think that he's going to be their starter. I'm not sure. I mean, he's getting kind of old. They do have Shedeur and Dylan Gabriel. Those are the guys on the bench. They'll also be playing in the preseason game, but the fact that neither one of those guys are starting means that it's quite possible that Joe Flacco is the Browns starting quarterback this year. Now, we've seen him perform incredibly well. Guy's been to a Super Bowl. Guy's been to the playoffs with the Browns. But he's getting up there in age. So I'm curious to see what that means, what Kevin Stefanski's going to do with that roster. I'm sure there's a lot of pressure to make Shedeur kind of the guy around there, the starter. But I think Kevin Stefanski's a good QB coach, and he will figure it out. I'm just kind of surprised at Joe Flacco. Now, we all got lucky. I'm not a Ravens fan, but we got lucky that Lamar did not get hurt. Well, he got hurt, but he avoided a serious injury, which means he's probably likely to play once the season starts. But I'm so happy about that because I'm an Eagles fan. I think I've said this before on the podcast, but Lamar's just fun to watch. He's just fun to watch. I mean, this guy is a walking highlight. A walking highlight. He's probably got billions of views on TikTok, Instagram, any platform that you can take a 30-second clip of him just zigzagging across the field, juking everybody out of their shoes. I mean, he had probably the coldest high school highlight ever, where he sprints to the pylon in the end zone and literally stops still and watches a guy fly past him and just walks into the end zone. This guy was doing it in high school. And he still almost got drafted second round. Lamar is that guy, but Stafford's still hurt. It seems like he's trying to get back to being able to play for the Rams. He's got a back injury. He's been pretty injury prone throughout his career, but when he's healthy, he's a top 5 QB in the league. So it's like hard. Can't imagine what you do in that situation as a coach where you know if this guy can just stay healthy, he will give you a shot every time. But Matthew Stafford is a guy who tends to get hurt, puts his body on the line to make plays, and that's where we're at. Let's talk about predictions. Now look, I'm an Eagles fan, so the superstitious part of me cannot say that the Eagles are going to be the best team in the NFC this year. I just cannot physically say it out loud, or I'm afraid that me saying that is going to cause them not to be. I think Pittsburgh is going to be better than people think. I have a lot of faith and trust in Aaron Rodgers. I always have. I know that people may not like him as a person, but he is a damn good QB. Damn good QB. And so I think the Steelers are going to be pretty damn good this year. I'm talking better than just like a winning record. I think they might make it 2 rounds in the playoffs. I have that much faith in Aaron Rodgers. I don't think Carolina's going to be good. I don't think New England's going to be good. I don't think the New York Giants are going to be good at all. I don't think those are playoff teams. I think Philly, the thing I'll say is I think Philly will be a playoff team. Not going to go any further than that because of my superstitions. The Jets, no faith. No faith. No faith. I thought that if they couldn't figure it out with Aaron Rodgers, they're never going to figure it out. I'm sorry to all you Jets fans, but you might be praying and hoping just to make the playoffs for the next 10 years. I think the Vikings are going to be good. I like Kevin O'Connell. I think he's a great coach. I would take him as my coach any day. Any day. I think they're a playoff team. No faith in Tennessee this year. They need to work out drafting a rookie QB, getting him set in stone, and being able to play. Don't think Atlanta's going to be good. I think they have some great players on their roster, but not a fan of their coaching. Their defense has a lot of liabilities, and their QB situation is confusing because they're paying a lot of money to have him as a backup QB. I don't know. Dallas, playoff team. Don't think it's going to go any further than the first round. Chicago, I think they're going to be good this year. I think they might make the playoffs. They're probably going to be right around that like even winning record area, but I think they can figure it out. I have a lot of faith in the coaching staff coming over from the Lions. We all saw what the Lions turned into because with his help as a coach, and now he's the coach of the Chicago Bears, and they have some pretty good players on the roster. Kansas City, probably a Super Bowl team. I don't know how you can bet against them. Doesn't matter. Every year they lose players, and Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. That's literally felt like their entire offense last year was Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes, and they still found a way to make the Super Bowl and almost go on a three-peat. And their entire offense was built around 2 guys. They didn't really have anything else. So, Andy Reid, Pat Mahomes, Travis Kelce, probably a Super Bowl team. I don't know how you can bet against them. Baltimore, right around that fringe Super Bowl team. I think we can all agree on that. I think we can. The Ravens are that good. They always figure out a way to figure it out. And even with knowing what Lamar Jackson is and what he can do, teams still cannot stop him. I don't know how you defensively scheme around that guy. He can do everything. This guy's Superman. Washington, this one's tough. Think they'll be good. I think with the NFC East being what it is, they're probably going to be the third best team in the NFC East, but I can see them still making the playoffs because the top 3 teams in the NFC East are pretty damn good. The Cowboys may not be ever a Super Bowl team again, but they're more than likely to make the playoffs. And so, with the Eagles being as good as they are, you have to either have an incredible record or just get good enough to make a wild card spot. I think Washington's right around that wild card spot just because of the division they're in. Indianapolis, don't think they're going to be good at all. Sorry, Pat McAfee. Don't have any faith in the Indianapolis Colts. Cincinnati, right around that fringe Super Bowl team, I think, as long as the players stay healthy, as long as Joe Burrow stays healthy, gets protection, that team is a Super Bowl team. If he doesn't have protection, gets sacked a lot, gets hurt, guess what? He's probably going to be out. They're probably not going to make the playoffs. The Rams, right around that even to winning record area. They lost a lot of key players. Obviously, they know Sean McVay knows how to coach, and he knows how to take rookies and develop them into incredible players on the field. I'm just not sure if Matthew Stafford at that age can still do what he's accustomed to doing on the field and not get hurt. So, Cleveland, they're probably like right under 500. I don't know. That one's hard. I like the coaching staff. I like some of the players on the team, but they have a lot of holes they need to fill, and they have no money to do it. Because guess what? They paid Deshaun Watson way too much damn money, thinking that he was going to come over and do what he did as a Texan on the Browns, and this guy has only been a bust and let down. But at least he has $240 million guaranteed to go and get as many massages as he wants to. Houston, playoff team. I like Houston. I do. Good coaching staff. I've always loved DeMeco Ryans. They filled some holes that they needed to fill. As long as they're going to keep their QB protected, I think they're probably just going to be a playoff team. Detroit, I don't know. This one's hard. They lost their entire coaching staff. I mean, look. Let's look at them. Sorry, I am trying to do this on my computer. Obviously, they have Dan Campbell. Love the guy. He is he's walking entertainment. You could film him all day and get viral clip after viral clip because he's just got the personality that is so enjoyable to watch and be around. I don't know how many of you guys watched Hard Knocks the year that the Lions were on it with him. That was the best Hard Knocks I've ever watched. He is entertainment. And he's a damn good coach. I mean, we all thought that it was a curse to be a Lions fan, and this guy made being a Lions fan cool. Made it prideful to be a Lions fan. But right now, their assistant head coach, Scotty Montgomery, offensive coordinator, John Morton, and their defensive coordinator is Kelvin Shepard. They lost a lot of coaching staff. Now, I don't think their depth chart changed very much. You still got all the wide receivers. You still got all the linemen. You still got Jared Goff, David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta. Now, I think they lost a couple players on defense, if I'm not mistaken. They still have Brian Branch. Man, I wish the Eagles would have drafted Brian Branch. He is incredible as a safety. But it seems like they lost a couple. They still have Avonte Maddox. Yeah, I think they lost a couple cornerbacks. But it's practically the same depth chart. Aiden Hutchinson should be healthy this year, or at least healthy after a couple weeks. Get him back. I think they can I think they're going to be a playoff team, but I don't think they're going to be like Super Bowl aspiration level. I hope I'm wrong just because I like watching the Lions play ever since they got Dan Campbell and turned it around. So I think they're right on that good playoff team area. Like good record, probably will get a good seeding, but I don't think they're going to make the championship or the Super Bowl. Denver, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. Same with New Orleans. Don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I'm sorry to my stepmom, Lena. I have watched way too many Saints games, and I enjoy it. I enjoy watching the Saints with you, but they're just not a good team right now. Got a couple good players on the team. Couple players I would take on the Eagles all day long, but they don't even have their QB situation figured out. And so they're probably going to have a losing record, not make the playoffs. But I'm still going to enjoy watching every Sunday with my stepmom. Seattle, no faith. No faith. Paid a lot of money to a QB who had a lucky year. Very lucky year. No faith in Seattle. Green Bay is going to be a fringe playoff team. If Jordan Love can stay healthy, they still have some players on offense that I would take. Their defense is pretty stout, even though they lost one of their key players on defense. But they're right on that like fringe playoff team. Jacksonville is going to have a losing record. I'm just going to watch Jacksonville games to watch Travis Hunter. I don't know how they went from being like, holy shit, Jacksonville's a good team to what the hell happened. Miami, same thing. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs this year. Tua, Tyreek, you should be able to make the playoffs. But they went from this team is unstoppable to do we need to get a new head coach? I don't know how that happens. Buffalo, fringe Super Bowl team. They're paying a lot of money to him, but he's deserved of that. Man, Josh Allen's cool. I know he's had a weird bringing up because of all the Twitter videos and Instagram or Twitter posts that came up during his draft process, but he's good for Buffalo and Buffalo's good for him. And so I think they're going to be a fringe Super Bowl team. Tampa Bay, I don't think they'll make the playoffs. Chargers, I think they'll make the playoffs. John Harbaugh is way better than I thought he was going to be, or Jim. Am I getting the Twins mixed up? Give me 1 second. I think it's Jim. Yes, it is Jim Harbaugh. I was right. But Jim Harbaugh, incredibly good coach, knows what the hell he's doing. San Francisco, this one is confusing. I don't know what is happening with the 49ers. They have a lot of turmoil because players aren't getting paid. They lost a ton of players on defense because they had to pay key positions like QB, all that. And so they lost a lot of players, like a ton of defensive players. They may not even make the playoffs this year. They went from they might make the Super Bowl every year to they might not even make the playoffs. But that's what happens when you spend a lot of money, you draft well, you don't have to pay a QB a ton of money. This is what happens. You end up getting to a place where you have to let go of players because there's a hard cap in the NFL. That means you cannot go over the salary cap. You can't. It's not like the NBA where they have a kind of a soft cap where like if you go over, it's okay, you're just going to pay like a luxury tax to go over the salary cap. The NFL is you have to be under this. You have to be under the salary cap. You have no choice. And so that's what happens. You pay a ton of money. A large percentage of your salary cap goes to a QB or wide receivers or whatever. You have to let go of some positions and put in rookies, put in people that you drafted that you're not paying a lot of money to stay under that cap. The Raiders, sorry, Jamie, not going to be a playoff team. Hope they get better, praying they get better, but I don't think they'll be good. Same with, lastly, the Cardinals. Cardinals, I hate the Cardinals. I hate the Cardinals, and it's because have lived in Arizona before and had to be around way too many Cardinals fans as an Eagles fan. And so I just hate the Cardinals because I'm biased against them. But I don't think they're good enough to make the playoffs. Sorry. I don't know. I just don't think they're good enough to make the playoffs. I don't think they have the roster. I don't think they have the coaching. I don't have any faith in the Cardinals in anything they're doing. Their organization is kind of eh. And so, sorry, but I do hope the Raiders turn it around though, because I do like players on the Raiders. I do really love some players on the Raiders because like I like Brock Bowers. I love Max Crosby. Guy is cool. I love his every time he's on a podcast, you can see it in the just how he is as a person. He just feels cool. And I'm glad they paid him all that money because he deserves it. But other than that, they don't have the roster to be able to make the playoffs. Eventually, maybe. I mean, they drafted pretty well this year. With Ashton, they have Gino. They do have Pete Carroll as a coach. And maybe I'm wrong and they turn it around and Pete Carroll does what he did those last couple of years in Seattle where he turned Gino into going from a bust to reviving his career as a QB. I just don't think that the Raiders have the roster that Seattle did at that time. I love Pete Carroll. Ashton Shanty's cool. Geno Smith, dope guy. I was praying he wasn't a bust coming out of college because I enjoyed watching him. But other than that, they're missing a lot of roster pieces that they need to be filled. Love you, Jamie, but I don't think the Raiders have it this year. Maybe next year. Maybe. I think they'll be fringe even territory for like record wise. But I think they're still gonna be under by probably like 3 to 4 games. Now, only a little bit of MLB news. Remember, I was talking to you guys last week about like what's gonna happen with movies, TV shows, sports. Eventually it's gonna get to a point where the like the TV channels, the people that how do you word this? The people that pay money for sports are like NBC, CBS, networks. That's the word I'm looking for. The networks that there's eventually going to get to a point where the networks aren't making enough money from putting stuff on TV, on like a direct TV or a cable or anything like that. And eventually it's going to be subscription services, online, .coms, apps, all that is going to be what's going to be paying for sports, what's going to be paying for movies. We're not going to have movies go to the theaters anymore. We're going to be able to see it at home for a price, I'm assuming. I think it's the same thing with sports. You're going to see subscription services pay to get it on their subscription like Netflix or Hulu or whatever. And that's where we're going to be viewing our sports. Now, we're not at that place yet. And so it just came out that the MLB about to sign a deal with NBC Universal for $600 million to be able to air MLB games on their network. $600 million. Now, I don't know how long that means it's going to be. I'm assuming. Okay, so it's $200 million a year for 3 years, exclusive Sunday and Friday night game coverage, boosting Peacock streaming growth. Told you guys. Now, a lot of these networks own subscription services. NBC owns Peacock, which means that it's going to be not only probably be on the network on Friday and Sunday night, like on actual cable network, but it's going to be on Peacock as well to boost those ratings. Because now they have 2 streams of making money. You have the network deals where, they pay DirecTV pays them or they pay DirecTV and they get like advertising money from the channel from airing stuff on the channel. But then you also get the subscription services from us customers. They get monthly subscription fees from us to be able to watch these things on their network subscription service. So they have 2 forms of making money right now. Unfortunately, cable's kind of dying. Just like putting a movie in the theater. Nobody's going to the theater, so you're making less than you would have like 8 years ago. It seems like they're going to get it for 3 years, and that means we're going to be able to watch it on Peacock. The agreement reflects first industry shift with Netflix and Apple entering sports rights bidding. But I'm going to imagine that when it comes to the NBA playoffs or the NFL or the MLB playoffs, that number is gonna skyrocket. Can you imagine what networks and subscription services are gonna pay for the NFL ticket in 10 years? Couple billion. Couple billion for like 4 to 5 years. And guess what? Netflix makes enough to be able to do that. We might have NFL on Netflix. We might have NFL on Disney Plus because Disney makes so much money from all the things they have. Not just Disney Plus, not just Marvel, not just all the Disney movies put out, but they own parks, they own IP that you're buying stuff like this. Like, they just have so many ways of making money. That's why Disney's like, gotta be what, a top, I'm just taking a guess here, top 25 company in terms of how much they make a year. Same with Apple. Everybody has an iPhone. Everybody has an iPhone. Apple makes a ton of money. So I don't think it's going to hit a point where these networks cannot viably keep up when it comes to the monetary value of getting sports on their network. Because no matter how much we're not watching TV anymore on cable, if there's a popular or a competitive NFL game on, people will get cable just for that. We had DirecTV, and I got my dad to switch to YouTube TV finally, only because the NFL Network was on YouTube TV. That's the thing that finally made him switch. Was like, and he loves YouTube TV. He pays less to get the same thing, and we get the NFL Network. Or not NFL Network, but the NFL ticket. So, NBC, still getting MLB games for the next 3 years. Now that's all the sports news for today. Not a lot. Probably not stuff you guys are super interested in. Talked a little bit about NFL, talked about the NBC MLB deal, and then we talked about the Tour Championship. But look, let's get into like the entertainment movie stuff that I always talk about. We're in a weird place with movies where it used to be a lot of US domestic value in putting a movie in the US. It seems to be kind of flip-flopped now. I bet none of you guys, unless you've looked it up, can guess what the #1 movie worldwide is, and it's made less than $21 million domestic. Domestic meaning US domestic. I'm going to pronounce this wrong, but Niza 2 or Niza the second made $1.9 billion. And 20 million of that was from the US. That means 98.9% of the money they made was not in the US, was in mostly Asia. That's why the movies that I talk about are not doing well, and they're claimed as bust, because they're not doing well in Asia. They're not doing well in the eastern side of the world. They're doing okay in Europe, they're doing okay in Mexico, Canada, the US, they're doing really good in. But then when it comes to like the Middle East, Asia, Japan, China, all South Korea, all of that, they're not doing well over there. Those are not the movies that they want to see. Now, obviously, there's a lot of restrictions on what you can put out in China, so that limits what you're allowed to, but still, $1.9 billion and 20 million of that was from the US. This is why the movies I talk about are not doing well. Lilo and Stitch made $1 billion. It was about a 40-60 split, on 40 being domestic, 60% being foreign. Same with Jurassic World, Minecraft, and How to Train Your Dragon, right all around that 40-60 split. Mission Impossible, weird one. It did almost $600,000 worldwide. It did 67%, 2/3 foreign. 2/3 of the value it made was foreign. Crazy. Now, Superman was a 57-42 split. 57 being domestic, 42% being foreign. It's at almost $600 million. Fantastic Four. It's getting up there. It's only $120 million under the value of Superman, but it would take some really good weekends to hit that, so it's probably not going to do as well. But that one did a 52.9 split, 47.1 split foreign. So pretty much a 52-47 split, 52-43 split. 53-47 split. And it did $471 million. Probably just made its money back. Didn't really do, it won't do well. I think they expected to be in that $600-700 million range, but it's not doing well overseas. It's just not. None of these. I mean, the only movie that was more foreign when it comes to like MCU movies was Captain America Brave New World did a 48-51 split, 51 being foreign. Now, Sinners, the movie that most of us have seen in the US, good movie. Michael B. Jordan plays his twin brother, vampires, all that. I enjoyed that movie. Had a 76% split domestic. That means only 23% of its money was overseas. Now, Demon Slayer, a movie I'm gonna see, has only came out foreign so far. Has already made $201 million. I expect that movie to do pretty well in theaters. But this is what I'm talking about. If your movie is not doing well overseas, especially the eastern part of the world, guess what? It's probably not going to make a ton of money. You cannot rely anymore on domestic value being worth it for these movies. If you're spending $400 million to make a movie, you need it to do well overseas. You cannot have it be relied heavily upon domestic viewership. It's just not going to do well. Not enough people here. There's just not enough people in the US. That means you would have to have these people go and see the movie 2-3 times. You know why Endgame did well? Because Endgame did well overseas. The split may have been close to even, I'm not entirely sure, but it did incredibly well in Asia. These movies X-Men movies, the old Superman movies, the old Batman movies, did well in Asia. They're not doing well now. They're just not movies they want to see. It's not movies that they want to see over there. Maybe they got bored. Maybe it's because the movies have kind of sucked. I'm not sure. Or maybe because they're making incredibly good movies themselves, and we're seeing the movies over here. It's flip-flopped. Now, they're not relying on our domestic value, but we're going to see their movies because they're making incredibly good movies. I'm going to see Demon Slayer. I love anime. That's just how it's changed. It's not the US giving all the entertainment out. There's other places making incredible entertainment now. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, a couple trailers. A couple of teaser trailers have come out, and the first one I want to talk about is The Pit Season 2. That is an incredibly good show about being a doctor, about being in the ER. An ER type show. But everybody I've talked to, my stepmom, Lena, is a nurse. Incredibly good nurse. And she's watched most of the doctor shows, nurse shows that you can think of. She says this one is incredibly accurate. Incredibly accurate. And I think that's why it's doing so well on Peacock. What is it? HBO Max, sorry. That's why it's doing well on HBO Max. The next trailer, I think we're all excited for. Fallout Season 2's teaser came out. I loved Fallout the games. The show was done incredibly well. It brought a world and a universe that I never thought could be shown in real life in like a realistic way with real humans. And they did it incredibly well. Incredibly well. I think Fallout was like the #1 show in the world for a little while. And so that teaser trailer came out, and I'm excited for that. I am incredibly excited for that. Ben Stiller, I don't know how many of you have seen Severance. Such a good show. Such a good show. Apple's best show by far. I'm sure there's arguments that could be made about what show is. Severance makes you think like no other show does. And he was directing it for the first 2 seasons. He is no longer directing it. Kind of worried about that. You don't want to see shows that do well, have a great storyline, impress us, change who's controlling it, because then you're going to have somebody else's mind, somebody else's imagination being the one that directs it. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I hope it still stays a good show, but him not coming back in the third season kind of scares me. Now, The Terminal List, Dark Wolf, came out with the trailer, which means the second, whatever it is, second or third season that's coming out, second season, I think, came out the official trailer, and it comes out on August 27th. I will be watching that. I will. I loved the first one with Chris Pratt. Now, I'm pretty sure he's in this one, if I'm not mistaken. Let me look it up real quick. Terminal List, Dark Wolf. Like, that show was so good, I thought about reading the books. I really thought about reading the books. Okay, Chris Pratt and Taylor Kitsch are returning for Terminal List, Dark Wolf. Good. So, if you like Taylor Kitsch, if you've seen Friday Night Lights, he's been in plenty of other movies. I love Taylor Kitsch. Chris Pratt, also love him. Guardians of the Galaxy. He's in every big movie in the theaters. He's also in that show. So, take a look. It's a show about, if any of you haven't watched it, it's practically a war-based show. It's a guy who's in the special ops who kind of has some problems with his mind, his emotion, all that. It's incredible. It is incredible. So go watch that. That's pretty much it for today, guys. I don't really have much to talk about. It's just not a lot of sports news. I'm going to keep up on the Tour Championship. Oh, we have a new number one as of right now. Justin Thomas must have hit a bogey. He's 6 under, top 2. That means Russell Henley is 8 under right now. He's in first place. Colin Morikawa is 6 under, and he is top 2. So Rory, 3 under. Scotty Scheffler, 4 under. Rory's through 14. So is Scotty Scheffler. We'll see if they can hit a couple birdies going through 18 and get towards that top spot. But it looks like Justin Thomas lost his lead, and now it's Russell Henley. So I'm going to keep up on that. I'm going to watch Tour Championship, and then we'll keep up on some NFL news. I mean, we're almost to the season. We're almost to the NFL season. Finally. We're still in preseason right now, but late August, early September, we'll start getting the actual NFL season started. Yes. We can go over every game, how it went, stats, all that. I'm super excited for it. NBA comes back in, winter time. We'll have that. And then the MLB is getting closer and closer to the playoffs. And we will cover the playoffs here on Crossing Line with Devv. Now, I appreciate you guys listening every week. Sorry if it's a little boring when it's just me. I apologize for that. But eventually I'll have more and more and more people coming on to chit-chat with me and BS around, talk entertainment, talk sports, talk whatever they want to talk. So thank you guys for listening every week. Thank you guys for checking out all the content I put on socials. And I will see you guys next week. Have a good week. Peace.